Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Good evening! Leicester City 2, Chelsea 0. We are top of the league, and this is Leicester Till I Die TV. Yes, we did. We won. How are we feeling? Okay, so it might only be till tomorrow night, but you never know. And we are 1 point ahead of this stage in 2015-16. Are you dreaming yet? We are, and like I say, you are watching Leicester Till I Die TV. You can catch us live on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV, obviously. Please give us a subscribe, or that little subscribe button a click, and follow us. Periscope and Twitter at Leicester TID. Facebook group, obviously, Leicester Till I Die. And if you're watching this on, or you're listening to one, if you want to listen to us on Catch Up, your favourite podcast platform, I can't speak. And honestly, this is just Coke. There's no vodka in it. Your favourite podcast platform. I need to practice this. I really do. I need to go to rehearsals. Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, and Google. Like I say, it is up there, Leicester Till I Die on all of those. How are we feeling? Let's just say good evening to Max. Yeah, top of the league. We certainly are. We've got a hello. I'm not sure who this is because you're not signed in and you've not put your name on it, but hello back to you. Brilliant win. Yes, it was. We've got another face. Oh, Luke. Good evening, Luke. Great result and real team effort today. James Cook, brilliant performance. A joy to watch. It reminds me of why I'm a Foxes fan. We've got Justin Ward. What a performance, Chris, especially the defence. I tell you what, I didn't think they actually looked like troubling us at all. Well, maybe the penalty, but we'll come on to that later. Jay, good evening on YouTube. Great result. Everybody played brilliantly up the Foxes. Tony, we're going to say, get in the city. 2-0 flattered Chelsea. I could have been more, but we will take that. Josh. Hello, Josh. Hello. Too many folks saying that the first goal was from a direct corner. The beard stays. I would count that from a corner. I really would. Hello from Jennifer in Books. Hello, Jennifer. How the devil are you? Very happy. And Rudy, great result. The team really knows how to manage the game once we go ahead. It is looking that way. Quickly bring in Stephen Collins there. Solid performance. Okay, let's just move on from the comments for a while because we've got a couple of people waiting to come in. We're going to, let me just get rid of that. Yeah, Mark, top of the league for now. We might just sing it later on when we get you in. Going to bring in Brad. Good evening, Brad.
Good evening, Chris. How are you?
I'm, well, extremely happy. Are we going to sing it? We are top of the league.
We are top of the league. And that's exactly what
you left me standing there. You left me standing. And very nicely, and we'll get them in because I'm sure he doesn't want to sort of sit through too much gloating. We've got Tom from Chelsea podcast, the Boo podcast. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, lads. How you doing?
Oh, probably
I'm doing very well, mate. I'm not sure about yourself, but I'm doing fine.
I'm sure you're doing much better than me.
You have to hear us singing there. I'm sorry about that.
It's fine.
How are you feeling, dear? I mean, I've got to look at it and think we bossed that game.
I just put a tweet out, and I think the words that I think most Chelsea fans will be is gutted. To be honest, seemed to lack a lot of drive in that game. We did. I think the only two players that, I don't know if you'll agree, seemed to show a bit of fight were Mount and Pulisic in the second half, at least with Pulisic. So, yeah, you bossed most of the game. We didn't look like scoring. So yeah, got to hand it to you for that. And I mean, you are a team that's gone first now. So, I mean, losing 2-0 to the team in first can't be too bad. I mean, could have been a lot worse probably. But yeah, congrats to you guys for the result.
And Brad, Chelsea were the only team that Brendan hadn't beaten as a manager, and he can tick that off now, can't he?
Yeah, we like to tick off, annoying little niggles like that for managers or clubs. We like to end these little runs. Arsenal, first win at Arsenal in over 40 years, and now Brendan Rodgers.
Oh, I think Brad has frozen on us. Yeah, I think he's definitely frozen. I'm going to come.
It's just football, and it's good to see.
We missed all of that, Brad. You might want to log off and log back on again because you're just freezing at the moment.
All right, well, it looks fine on my end, so that's why I'm just a bit confused here. I'll log out and I'll go on the link again. Yeah,
come back in. Tom, that means I've got to sort of give you all the hassle. I was talking to Alex, Chelsea fan, on the preview show a couple of nights ago. Frank, is he be there at the end of the season, do you think?
It all depends on top four, to be honest. Obviously, I think most Chelsea fans would like him to be there at the end of the season, but it does completely come down to top four. If we get top four, then I think he stays, and I think next season we can go again, because I think if we get top four now, that's quite good considering we are in seventh right now, and possibly I think a lot of teams below us could actually move above us, which is slightly worrying. At least Arsenal will stay below us with 2 points at least, but it's not good. Obviously, Arsenal were 15th at one point in the season, and now they're 2 points behind us. So you can say that we're Lampard's probably in panic stations right now and not very happy with his players.
I mean, it can turn around. I mean, how long ago we were having exactly the same conversation with the Man United fans, and until an hour ago they were the top of the league. So it can change. But what confuses me about Chelsea is last year you had your transfer embargo. You had to play the youngsters. All the youngsters came through. You did really well. You got third. You're in the Champions League. Transfer embargo lifts. You go out and spend millions, and it kind of wheels are coming off the wagon a bit.
This was something that I think a lot of people predicted could happen at the start of the season. Was we've brought in so many players, and it's going to completely rock the boat, and we're not going to play as well as it's not going to gel straight away. And we played really well at the start of the season. We went on an 18-game unbeaten streak after we lost to Liverpool early on in the season. And then, obviously, it's just, I think, a lot of teething issues with this team, a lot of them, with Havertz and Werner not quite fitting in attack. Ziyech looked a bit bland since he come back from injury. So...
Yeah.
I was asked a question when I recorded a podcast today by a Villa fan. Were Werner and Havertz the board's decision or Lampard's decision? Because ever since he's brought them in, he hasn't really known where to play them. Although today he played Havertz as a 10 and Werner off of as a striker, but I don't know. It's you don't know, do you? As a fan, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Well, we like to think we do. You know. We'll welcome Brad back. Welcome back, Brad.
Yeah, cheers. The weather's just terrible this end, so I just kicked my Wi-Fi off and I've just gone on data, so hopefully it runs a bit smoother this end.
It's sounding good so far. Now, you said before, I think you've got a question for Tom, haven't you?
Yeah, did you enjoy always spending 50 million on a left back that quite can't cut it and gets found out? Because tonight, I'm sorry, mate, but that's what Leicester fans get frustrated with Ben Chilwell with. When he can be good, I'm not, tongue in cheek, all jokes aside. I just wanted to get that little comment out because we obviously give it to Maguire for Man United fans. But that's the side of Ben Chilwell that frustrated us because he did. You were looking for him tonight to go, I know how to deal with these players. I know where the gaps will come, and he just went and turned backwards, and he did that so much for us. And you look at our left side today. Arguably up there as man of the match, Justin was up front. He was back. He was covering. He knew where to be, And do you just feel that now maybe you're thinking at least we didn't push the boat out and spend that, earlier rumoured 60, 70, 80 million on him? Or do you just think that was...
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily think Chilwell's not going to be the future for Chelsea's left back. I think both Reece James and Chilwell were poor today, really poor. Every time they got the ball, they were looking backwards before they were looking forwards, and which is kind of a complete stark contrast to about 2 months ago, where every time they were looking down the line, looking forwards, and probably looked like the best fullbacks at one point in the season. I'm probably being a Chelsea fan here, but at one point in the season, they were looking like the best two fullbacks in the league, and now they've just completely. Or the players, or I
think we're having a few.
I don't know if it's the manager or the players.
Yeah, I think we're having a few problems with yourself as well here, Tom. I think this weather is doing us all in. As things sit at the moment, Tom, what are your hopes for the rest of the season?
4th place.
Really?
Yeah. 4th place is our hope.
And Champions League, can you go far in that?
We got a tough game against Atletico Madrid. I think that will also be a test of the steel of the players in those 2 games, especially. Oh, is it 2 games still?
I think it is. Yes.
It is back to 2.
Yeah. So that's going to be tough. In the FA Cup, we got Luton, and we should get to the 6th round of the FA Cup. We should. So maybe it's, I don't know. I'd say getting to the quarter, semi, or final of the FA Cup would be good this season because obviously we got to the final last season and unfortunately lost to Arsenal. Champions League again, I'd say if we can get to the quarters, I'd be happy with that. But I think the Premier League's the main focus. We have to get top 4 or win the FA Cup. Yeah.
And being now, I'm going to ask you now to sort of kind of be honest. I mean, you saw what happened to Leicester last year. We kind of dwindled away towards the end. Can we do it this year? Can we make the top 4, do you think?
I think you have a lot more depth this season. Your young players are looking fantastic. I mean, Justin and Fofana, to name a few. But yeah, I think this season you've definitely got players stepping up to the mark. Your bench looks a lot better. You've actually got last season you kind of had you had your subs who'd come on and they wouldn't really up the level of the team when they came on, even though they had more energy than the rest of the team. Whereas now you've got players coming on who just add a bit more. I mean, Jose Perez is a good player to bring on, to be honest. Iheanacho, I know he's not going to ever be what everyone hoped he'd be at Man City, but he's still obviously very good player to bring on. Brings a lot of energy and pace. Who else? Who was your third substitute?
Ricardo.
The fact that you're bringing on Ricardo as a substitute is crazy. Obviously, you've missed him for a long time through injury. And I thought he was fantastic when you were playing well last season. Him and Ndidi, I thought were huge for you. And obviously, Ndidi's back now. I think from injury, he's looking like he's back from injury now, fully fit. So, yeah, I think this. It's going to be almost, I think, an opposite of last season. You started, I think, you start better last season?
To be honest with you, it was around the set. I know we're doing better than we are in the Premier League winning season. We're up a point on this point then. But can you remember where we were at the halfway stage last year, Brad?
I think we was we weren't first, obviously, but we was in and around the same sort of position on the same sort of points. I think before the game kicked off, they were saying that the last year Leicester went 17 win, only lost 2 of the first 19 games last season. But I just feel like that season contained a bit more draws in them first 19 games. So maybe we are a couple of points ahead of that, if not maybe a few more. It can't be too much in and around that mark. It's just been another impressive half the season. And I think I would add that's different to last season is, I mean, unfortunately, Leicester City LCFC beat me to the punch because I listened to their aftermath while I was doing social media, and they already beat me to it. I kind of said, this year, Man City beaten, Chelsea beaten, Spurs beaten, Arsenal beaten, Manchester United drawn, and Liverpool's the only big blot on the mark at the first 19. And I think when we came out of the 19 before that, we lost to Liverpool, we lost to Man City, we drew with Chelsea at that point. I don't think we beat Spurs. I could be wrong, and I can't remember our United result, but we didn't get as positive results as you need to against the sides if you're to be serious talk, as we rightly should be. I feel if you base a team on current form, to be talking about a top 4 side and being in that race for a title, no matter, I don't care who you are and what your opinion is on Leicester City, you take it on form, or as my favourite thing in the world, stats, as Chris will point out later, Leicester City are definitely in that race because they're beating the teams not only around them. Yes, we've had a few dodgy results, who hasn't this season, but we're also beating the teams that you need to beat if you're going to oust them to first place. And that's a big testament to last season in comparison.
It's almost the exact opposite to Chelsea.
Yeah, like you said.
We've got 2 points against teams above us, which is shocking, to be honest. So I think almost what I was going to say. Well, compared to last season, you're almost looking like you're getting better still this season.
Yeah.
Whereas last season you started dropping off. It's kind of like the opposite.
Yeah, you could see it in like the West Ham game and a few games in and around that. Even though we picked up a good win against Newcastle at the start of the year, there was a few jittery performances in between that one. We were still getting wins, but you could see it. And when you get them like that, and I think you had, before you played us, yes, you got the win, but it was a bit jittery against a 10-man Fulham. I think they're the games that kind of stick in a player's mind. And you came today, and we just squeezed you out of everything. You were like a roll of toothpaste to us at the end of its life, and we just squeezed you out at every point. And you don't do that to Chelsea.
That's an analogy that you don't come across very often, isn't it? Your team's like a tube of toothpaste.
It was today, though, wasn't it?
One.
Yeah, but you don't do that for a Chelsea side, do you? You don't do that to a Chelsea side on their day.
I think this season, the difference is, because, of course, it was around this time last season that it started to sort of go wrong a little bit. But like you alluded to earlier, Tom, we've got the bench now. When the big players dropped out last season, we haven't got the players really to come in and carry that on. Where this season we've had to have those players at the start of the season because we had so many injuries, and we went out and bought, but we didn't buy quantity. No disrespect to yourselves, we bought quality. Not saying that yours weren't, but we just bought the three. And it now, as you look at that bench, that's a bench that could almost, let's say, be a first team.
Big statement.
Yeah, it is. But I think, when you look at sort of, Luke Thomas, who's a youth player, he scored in the Europa League, or Brighton, who at the start of the season, I've got to be honest with you, I thought was probably past it, and on his coming on as a super sub, is starting every game. Fuchs played about 10 in a row for us and was virtually, playing on crutches at the end. He's getting on a bit, but it's looking good. But Tom, I'm going to thank you for coming in. I'm going to let you go because I've got somebody else in the win. Thanks for taking it on the chin. I'll just quickly show you this before we go, if it works. You might, just to remind you of, what it feels like.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate.
Hey, anytime. There's nothing like kicking the fan of another club when we beat them. Tom,
right,
take care, mate. Good luck for the rest of the season, unless you play us again, and we'll speak soon.
Yeah, speak soon. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers,
all the best. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Everything is not working. There we go.
No, the weather's been a pain in the arse.
Well, and talking of pain in the arse, that wasn't an introduction to Mark, but good evening, Mark. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, cheers, Chris. Hi, brother. You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Very happy. Yourself?
Yeah, happy as Larry, mate. Happy as Larry.
Top of the league, guys. Let me just have a look. Some comments before we go through the match. Let's just go back here. Wesley Farner, yeah, he had a great game. Leicester side this season looks stronger than the one that won the league. Yeah, and in all honesty, I just hope we keep them all and not lose them in the summer, Luke. We beat Spurs 2-1 at the start.
Yeah, we did. I remember it now. Yeah.
We lost to Man United twice, to Liverpool before 219 actually ended. Just to catch up with the comments here. Justin, good evening, Justin. You could tell from the off we wanted the game. We closed every ball down and won most of the second balls. Vaughan, hello Vaughan, how the devil are you, sir? Man City spent a load and didn't win the league. Money not enough to win the league. I think we know that, don't we, from our own history. Bookline from America. I'm impressed with Tom's knowledge of Leicester. Maybe a good second team for you. I've got to give Tom credit for coming on, to be honest with you. Facebook user again here. This season is really open and we're beating the teams that are expected to be in the top six. But we have been such as Everton, West Ham and Southampton. And just Brookline, before we move on, we played too well. Now Chelsea will buy all our players. We look like a team, Brad. They didn't look like a team.
Yeah, and I might have used a bit of a unique phrase to describe it, but it was the case. We didn't let Chelsea play like a team either. I mean, they were so shaky at the back, and it's a nice familiar pattern to see. We've done it to a few of the big sides, and we did it at parts against Southampton on Sunday night as well, and we just press and press and press. It's like every time they pushed the ball towards our box, we squeezed it back out, and it was normally when, even if it's 2-0, it gets to 10 minutes, and that's when the jitters start. You start pacing, you start doing your 10-minute ritual where you make a brew or you're looking away and everything. I don't think I felt that comfortable watching a 2-0 scoreline against a side like that and thinking that's it now. I know where Leicester are going to go to it, and there's nothing Chelsea can do about it. And that was something that was really good to see, because we just shut them out and they just didn't get through. And
Mark, looking at the game, 5 minutes in, 1-0 up. Was that scored from the corner?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think.
Oh, come on! It was in the same period passage of play, was it not?
Well, if you see that they put it up afterwards about the corners taken, that was after that goal was scored, and it was still showing us as a 0. I don't think it was directly from the corner, so it won't count as that, I don't think. But it was a good start. I think we needed that to set ourselves down. Perfect start. I couldn't believe it, to be honest. 1-0 up after 5-6 minutes, happy days, and then we bossed it from there.
We did, and Schmeichel had a good game. I mean, in the 30th minute, my God, I thought he was going to run up into their half, Brad. It was a sweeper keeper like never before.
No, it was awful. His heading was all over the place. He should have at least made a keeper work from that angle. You know, he's getting a bullet header from there. It's just no good. Now, I could believe it when he's doing a flying Dutchman on the halfway line, but I mean, even the commentator said you'd have heard him all around Leicester, let alone on that pitch. It was very good.
Just a bit worried he was going to do, what do they call it? Is it the scorpion kick?
Yeah.
That the Colombian goalkeeper did. Can you imagine? But, Mark, penalty for them?
Well, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But you know what I mean.
It was outside. It was outside, clearly outside. It was a bit heart in mouth time. I thought it was close, but looking back at it, it wasn't in the area. So if it was given, I'd be up in arms about that. So yeah, it could have changed the game if that was given otherwise, but definitely outside. And Evans was a lucky boy.
He was, but it was nice to have a VAR decision go for us, Brad.
Yeah, it was, and you know, in the last couple of games, the VAR decisions have been used in the right way, and they've worked right, and they're just showing that once everybody calms down and untwists their underwear, you know, and people get a brain cell that want to give the rules out for VAR, the technology is actually decent for the game because, you know, had that penalty been awarded and not been able to check or not checked because it was clearly inside the box, I feel like Johnny Evans was a bit thankful, but he seemed to kind of know that he was going to give away a silly one, but he was going to be safe, and the technology obviously overruled the decision. I think that's why the delay was in the referee's decision, Thomas, because it was a foul. I just think the referee was like, was it in? Wasn't it in? And with the technology in hand, it was easy for him to give it and let the computer tell him otherwise. And we got away with it in a sense, but I think Johnny Evans was like probably 90% sure in his head that he got it right. And we went down the other end and completely killed him off. I mean, it was great to see.
I mean, Johnny Evans was probably the one person on the pitch that was at that point confident that it was outside. 2-0, nice strike from Maddison, Mark.
Yeah, he's doing well, and he's really picked up his game since he's come back from his injury. He was not doing what he was doing now before that, but he's been brought back into the team. Brendan's done really well with him, putting him back in gently and giving him a game, then resting him, giving him a game, and he looks to business now. I enjoyed his interview after the match. I thought he was brilliant in that. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't see it, but I've seen a lot of posts. I must admit, when if you're in the Facebook group, I tend to not let a lot of repeats of the same post go up, but there must have been about 10 or 11 posts all saying what a good interview it was. I allowed one and then had to sort of delete the rest. But what was it? It was a good interview, was it?
Yeah, it was. They were basically probing him to ask him if we're top contenders and all like that, and he was saying, look, I've got to do the right thing and say it comes game by game. We're happy being the underdogs. We'll just keep doing what we're doing, and all the Liverpools, the Man Uniteds, and all of them can just fight it out, and we will just keep doing what we're doing. We're a team, and he come across really well and a bit tongue in cheek. You'll have to go back and have a look at it because it was a fantastic interview.
I think Mark Chorner will probably post it for me. He's good like that. Brad, that second goal by Maddison, and I went on. Josh, who does the pre-show with me, was doing a watch along, and I joined in with him at half time, and he asked me this. So I'm going to ask you the same question that he asked me. Had Maddison missed for that second goal, would we have got a penalty for the foul on Vardy?
I think so. I think it was. I think you could tell that really that the referee was just like, have a shot. You know, I think the referee was more hoping that there was either a save or it nestled in the net like he did, so he didn't have to pull it back for a penalty. Maybe I'm being harsh here, but I think had he gone back for the penalty, you may have seen a yellow card because it baffled me. Like the commentator said in the game as well, I was a bit confused as to why he even bothered jumping into Vardy like that. it was kind of like in a way, it reminded me of what Aurier did to Fofana in the Spurs game to give away a penalty for them. You know, it was odd, it was ridiculous. Vardy was very clever in what he does. So, you could maybe give a lot of credit to Vardy for doing what he does best. And in the end, the penalty would have been given if it didn't, but it wasn't needed. And that's just credit to the improvement that we've demanded as fans and the managers demanded of the likes of Maddison and Barnes in that department to put them balls in the net and not have them saved.
I must admit, Mark, that when I first saw that, I thought that Vardy had actually gone down to let the ball go through for Maddison to score. I didn't realise it was a foul straight away.
Yeah, I'd have said it would have been given as a penalty if Maddison hadn't put it away. To be honest, when that was too busy concentrating on Vardy and what was going on with him, and then it kind of went through to Maddison, he put it in. So I was kind of, oh yeah, fantastic. But rather score more than have to rely on a penalty kick. I'm sure Vardy would have put it away, but more than happy for it to be let to play on and get the goal that way.
Mark, I'm going to stay with you for this comment because this is from a Chelsea fan, obviously. But I think you guys got lucky tonight.
Oh, we were very lucky, weren't we? Very, very lucky. It's a good job. I think we were lucky tonight. Listen, we played as a team tonight. Chelsea have got so many star players, and I'd love to have one or two of them in our side. But having star players doesn't make a team, and that's what Leicester are doing well this season. They're playing as a team. There's a good unity there. We didn't get lucky tonight. We outplayed you. We beat you 2-0. Could have been 3-4-0. So no, not unlucky. Not lucky at all.
No. I think if that's lucky, long may it continue.
Exactly.
Kurt, we're just going to say a quick hello to Kurt, who's actually out in China at the moment. Nice of you to join us, Kurt. So he needs to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch these late games.
Bloody hell.
But I couldn't be happy getting up to watch this Leicester team right now. Never been so excited to watch Leicester. And then he did add since 2016. Mark saying here, Castagna showed tonight that we won't miss Chilwell at all. He's a much better defender. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I've often said, I was quite a fan of Chilwell. I think I didn't get all the hatred towards him. But Brad, we've got in Castagna and we've got in James and the emerging talent of Thomas, and of course we've got Piera. We're not, as much as I liked him, we're not going to miss him.
No, we're not. And I think I know it was a bit tongue-in-cheek when I gave him stick for spending 50 million on him. But, I mean, maybe Mark could give his opinions on the thing. Would you say that Chelsea tonight probably saw what we as Leicester fans saw of Chilwell when he can be frustrating? Because a lot of times when, you've got the likes of knowing what Leicester are capable of and what your ex-teammates can do, which is press you like we have been doing for most of the 19 games this season so far, that we press and press and press a back line into a mistake. Chilwell seemed to hold the ball up and play into our hands tonight, and I feel like Chelsea got the frustrating side of Ben Chilwell, which Leicester fans maybe led to him getting a lot more grief when we lost games, and it was a bit sterile going forward because he didn't move that ball forward a lot for them tonight. I know James didn't do much on the other side of them either. Do you think that maybe Chelsea kind of got their eyes onto why we weren't too concerned about him leaving?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I was never a lover of Chilwell. I wasn't his biggest fan, and for that exact reason, he looks good going forwards. He can put a good ball in, but he's no good defending. And I think we've managed to get £50 million for a player and replaced him with a better player. I mean, it's just what we do, isn't it? And you look at Maguire, and we've got Fofana, and we've got a better defender in Fofana. I don't know if you was watching after. I'm sure you wouldn't be, Chris, because you're busy with this. But Jamie Redknapp was talking about Fofana, and he was talking he's going to be the best in Europe in a year or two's time. And we just seem to have a knack of getting good money for good players. I'm not going to say they're average because they are good players, but replacing them with just as good. And I was never a lover of Chilwell, and you're quite right. He goes missing, and we did play a lot down that side, so we knew where to target, and we put a lot down that side, and we got a lot of joy from it.
I tell you what, with Fofana as well, I don't know if he certainly doesn't have a future in football. I think he could do the 100 meters. I mean, he did that run 3/4 of the pitch, and it was one of those. He just went like, "Go on, mate, go on!" I mean, it was a great run, wasn't it, Brad?
Yeah, it was. I think if you could give him a cartoon nickname, you'd definitely have one calling him the Roadrunner because he just flies. I mean, he put that ball about 10 yards in front of him. Before that ball could finish getting 10 yards in front of him, he was a yard ahead of the ball. He was that quick. He just flew into their half. I mean, sometimes he was that close with Ndidi doing the defensive work. It's like, which one can come away with it? And all of a sudden, next thing you know, there's someone up at the edge of their box and you're going, it's bloody Fofana. You forget what his job's there to do. He's supposed to be our centre back, and all of a sudden you're going, don't go too far, don't go too far. But he's brilliant on the ball, and he frightens you, doesn't he? You don't want that as a midfielder or an attacker to deal with. You don't want that nightmare in front of you blocking and chasing down everything and not letting you get away from him. You don't want that as a defensive midfielder or a centre back, seeing the opposition centre back running past you. It must be horrible to play against him.
And Mark, he nearly started the second half. Got when he had a free header, it just went wide.
Justin, yeah, he should have put that away. To be fair to him,
I think it was Fofana, wasn't it?
No, it was Justin.
No, it was Justin.
Was it? Oh, fair. I've got Fofana written down. Just shows what I know. I mean, we haven't got that defender that, as good as they are. The one criticism, I suppose, is that I can't remember the last time a defender scored a goal.
It will come, Chris, because I can see beast. He's a beast, and I think when we get one, continuing getting, because Evans is good in the air, and Fofana, he's so hungry to get on the end of that ball. You watch him when the ball's coming in from a corner, he is proper trying to get his head on that ball, and it will come. And it's probably just a little stigma that we've got at the minute that we're not scoring from corners and getting their head on it, but it will come. I no doubt that we'll get Fofana or Evans will score from a corner.
Right. Should we have a look at something nice?
Go on then.
And it's not. It's not me. It's not me in me. You thought it was going to be me in me boxers, then, didn't you?
Close my eyes.
Mankini. I'll put it away. If I did, it's going to be a blue one. But top of the league there. I mean, it might only be for 24 hours, but you just don't know this season, do you? I mean, we're a point better off than we were in 15-16. And I said earlier with Josh in the pre-match, I know sort of in that season, I'd go into every match thinking we're playing a top team. Is this going to be the one we're going to lose? And we didn't, obviously, apart from Arsenal. And I get that feeling this season, Mark. I mean, it's like, Man City, we beat them. All right, Liverpool, I know we haven't, but Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, these are the games I'm thinking, like, is this going to be the one that goes wrong? And we're not. We're winning. Could it happen again?
Yeah, of course it could. Of course it could. We're there not by fluke. We're there on merit. And people say, "Oh, people got games in hand and all that kind of thing." Listen, I'd rather have the points on the board than the game in hand. The top of the points are in the bag. And yes, 100% we are in this title race. 100% in this title race. And we've got through a sticky patch at the start of the season when all our players are out injured. Let's not forget that. And we're still there. And now we've got players coming back. Forever get back in the team. I think we'll probably see him on the right-hand side. Him and Brighton changing. And we've got people on the bench. I mean, it's fantastic. We've got people that can come in now and do a job. We will be there at the end of the season. I have no doubt about it that we will not drop out of that top four. And we've got a very good chance of fighting for it all the way.
Yeah, I've just been reminded here, and I take my hat off to the guy. There you go. James did score a quite amazing goal a couple of games ago. I was thinking more from sort of a header from coming in the old Steve Walsh. But no, that is a very good point. We've got to give. We can't forget that goal by Justin. Brett says here, Brad, St Etienne must be gutted at the price we paid for Fofana. The rumours are that they were annoyed that they didn't get Slimani as part of the deal.
Well, I mean, the less said about Slimani, the better. I think there's a lot of hidden stories behind closed doors about Somani as to whatever reason why it didn't work out here, why he fell out of favour, and he's not got back in favour with any manager since his arrival, and who's been in here. But I don't think they're gutted about the price they got for Fafana because they set it. Maybe the fans might have wanted a bit more seeing what he's doing, but hindsight's a beautiful thing. I think the more gutted they got Puel in charge because I'd be, if I could get my money back in any of them, I'd try and say, well, I don't want Puel in charge because I think another manager would have put his foot down. I think the board wanted the money and set the price and will gladly pay it because it looks like pence, doesn't it, right now?
Yes. And I've got to say, I love this name. This is another Chelsea fan. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching and coming on. Cheap Slime. That has got to be a great YouTube name, hasn't it? Cheap Slime. Good game, guys. And you smashed us. Glad you smashed us so we can get rid of Fat Frank. This is what I was saying before about Frank. He's not slow at pulling the old firing trigger, is he, Mark? And I'm just wondering, people have won more than Frank and got fired at Chelsea.
100%. I put a post on in the group saying, a bit tongue-in-cheek, but with a bit of possibility to it, that Frank Lampard will be getting sacked in the morning. Don't be surprised if it happens at all because they're off the pace at the minute. They look disorganised. And he doesn't seem to know what his best team is. He's chopping and changing all the time. He needs to learn his craft before he went in there. And let's be honest, he went to Derby. He didn't get them promoted. And they're a better team than what they have now. And not really cutting it at Chelsea. I would not be surprised if he gets sacked. It would not be surprised me at all. But then they might
Mark's saying here, will Chelsea try to purchase Rodgers? I think that's the one club that they're saying that he won't go to because of his past history there, Brad.
I don't think he'll go anyway. I mean, it was very justified his move leaving, the Scottish League to come and do what he's done here at Leicester, and that was a logical move in sense of, despite what they've won in history, current climate, Leicester are obviously doing a lot better than Celtic in any shape and form. And you've got to ask yourself, why would you go to all the effort to build a team up just to go, well, now I'm going to go join 9th place Chelsea or whatever they are? You're not going to do it because there was something about them players, and sometimes maybe it comes to the weight of expectation and the pressure of the big money move. A lot of their players tonight seem to just lose it. They lost that effort. They lost that confidence that they could get a result. Once it got to about 65 minutes, I think Leicester got through that crunch stage of a second half. Chelsea's heads just went again. Their momentum seemed to drop, and that's when we had a few chances. Tillemans could have wrapped it up. Justin with that header could have got a third, like you said. And I think that just shows where Leicester's desires never drop. I mean, even, in recent weeks, we've given these players stick, and all right, today, maybe for one of them, it still wasn't much to improve on. But again, you saw the effort of the players that came on the pitch. Whether it was the best of quality is neither here nor there. The effort was there, and that's what matters. Sometimes you can forgive the lack of talent if they're at least trying, like Perez did when he came on today.
Well, I was going to mention
returning.
I'll ask Mark about this. Perez for Maddison. What did you think of Perez's? It was only a sort of 15 minutes. I mean, I don't think there was the need to make the change before. Perez for Maddison.
Yeah, he took the ball into their half, held it up well, done his bit, worked hard. He's coming good, I think, Perez. As much as Brad won't appreciate that, he is doing the business at the minute, and he does look like a natural sub to come on. And
he's looking more like maybe we've always judged him by expecting him to get the goals, but that break that he seemed to have seems to have, re-galvanised him, if you like, in fourth break.
If Brendan would have said to him, look, get on there. If you can get hold of the ball, you try and keep it, take it into their side. And he probably done exactly what he was told. I've been quite impressed with Perez the last few games when he's played, to be honest. So Maddison got an early shower.
Yeah.
We managed to take Ian Maddison off.
Sticking with you on this one, Mark, Ricardo coming on for Brighton. Was that in response, do you think, to Werner? Whatever, it was nice to see him back, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Nice to see him on the pitch. I'll give one of the guys I mentioned, Joshua Burton. I've been had a bit back and forth with him today on one of the threads, and it was about Cengiz Under and Albrighton. And they were basically saying, why isn't Under playing? And I said, because Albrighton is better. And then we had this back and forth. And Albrighton proved me right tonight. I mean, what he did, and his unsung hero, he was fantastic tonight, and he deserved his little rest. It's going to be interesting to see how Pereira fits back into the team, if I'm honest. I thought they would play a back five today to get Soyuncu sides, but it didn't materialise like that. But yeah, nice to see him back, nice to see him fit, and probably the right side of midfield is where we're likely to see him going forward.
And Brad, I've got to do this again, because I will do this every time until he comes on and scores.
You'll be waiting a long time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right now,
he had about 5 minutes. He couldn't really do much, could he?
No, and again, he came on and did what was expected of him, soak it up. If it came to him, soak it up. And, you know, right now, maybe that's just Rodgers still allowing him to get minutes on the pitch. Because right now, unless he brings someone in, that is our go-to man. If we need to bring Vardy up and manage his hip niggle that he's had for a while, it's a perfect thing to do. You take him out of the limelight. You're not putting him on at 0-0 or 1-1 or 1-0, and you're putting him on with 20 minutes to go and saying get us the extra goal or find us a winner, and he doesn't do it. Right now, you're kind of going, you know, put your arm around him, reset him, and he did seem a bit more energised. I know he didn't have too much to do, and he didn't have too many minutes to come around, and that. But right now, he's the only one we've got, and we're using him right. Like you said, give Vardy an extra 5 minutes with a bit of an ice pack, get an early soak, use him for what he's there for right now until he starts upping them performances and warranting more minutes. He's doing his job. He's coming on to help the squad. And, you know, going into Brentford, you're probably seeing, you know, you never thought, I know it was an injury to Ricardo, obviously, and a few others, but you never thought you'd be looking at the likes of Brentford game and going, oh, we can rotate with some really good players like Mendy, like Ricardo, like Soyuncu. I'm glad to see that he's not accommodated for them players coming back, and he's gone to them, here's your place, earn it. You want to play it.
You know, my feeling on that totally is, if no matter who you are, if the player that's in your position is doing the business, that the shirt is theirs to lose. Could have been an interesting last 5 minutes though, Brad, if VAR hadn't come to a rescue again. It was another armpit hair onside, offside, wasn't it?
Yeah, but sometimes I think you warrant when you work so hard and do as well as we've done, because, you know, talk of corners and not, and all that aside, you know, because we've also not been conceding from set pieces. I can't remember the last time we conceded directly from a corner. So it works at both ends. In fact, yes, we're not scoring from them, but we look like scoring from them, but we don't look like conceding from them. And, you know, the effort and the squeeze and as the most famous Rodgers saying this season is, the counter press, the way Leicester go about their business, it probably warranted that, you know, that effort and that sharpness and communication and links to know to push up and leave them on, that whether it was by the hair or toenail or by half an inch he was offside, and, you know, you probably warrant that bit of decision going in your favour.
Well, let's have a look, and we'll go to Mark first with this, because as we always do with man of the match and the team and the manager's performance, Alan Bennett always does it for me. And I always say this because people say to me like, oh, I don't agree with that. It's all about opinions. This is the guy that I've asked to give his opinion. And in fairness to him, it is literally within, first 2 or 3 minutes of the whistle being blown, he makes that decision. He doesn't have a sort of half an hour to go away and think about it and look at the stats. But do you agree with this, Mark? He's gone for 9 for the manager, and I think the manager got it spot on tonight. I really, really do. The team did what they had to do. We soaked the pressure up. You know, they didn't, even when they, they had most of the possession. They had 64% possession, but we just controlled them. And Fofana, man of the match.
Yeah, Maddison, obviously a contender for man of the match. He played fantastic. But if whatever you told me there, my man of the match would have been Fofana. He's an absolute beast of a player. I think we've got a gem of a player there. He was brilliant all match. I mean, his little cheeky trip at the end of the game there, and he just walked away nonchalantly, like, yeah, I needed to do that. It's been fantastic since he's been here, and he really showed tonight. Nothing got past him. I think Evans was a bit dodgy tonight, to be honest. I thought he was a bit erratic, and he looked a bit out of sorts. But it was glad to see that we've got Fofana next to him, and he looks a cool, calm customer for his age, and we've got one hell of a player there.
Brad, I was surprised not to see Soyuncu back and him actually just giving Fofana a rest. I mean, I don't know if Fofana has 3 Weetabix every morning, but the guy is I think he's probably I don't know. He seems to have played every single game. Agree with those stats?
I would have probably even give it a perfect 10 today. I think the very few times that Chelsea managed to find any space in that team, how many times did we see them get in space? And not only were they instantly 2 to 3 to a man, but they ended up back at their goalkeeper. And that was something that was very pleasing, that when it came down to it, when push came to shove, that any time Chelsea did attack us, we were actually not just keeping them out. It wasn't like they were thumping shots and we were throwing bodies on the line. They cleared the ball and worked it out. And that's something that seems that no matter what part of the phase of play it is, Leicester are always, even though sometimes it might not look it, but the very calmness personified in everything they do. And like I said, every time, even if it was for a second or two that they got the ball out wide in a bit of space, before he could think what to do with the ball, he was closed down. And the next thing they're going, what the bloody hell was Reece James doing with the ball? How have we gone from the edge of their box or in their box to back at our own box? And it's just by doing what we've been doing. And I wasn't surprised overall, which might sound a shock with how well fans' favourite and player of the season in Leicester's eyes, and a lot of others at other clubs last year, Soyuncu not being in the team. But that team's undroppable right now. And, don't fix what's not broken sort of thing. I think Soyuncu might come in for Evans for the Cup, but that's the joys of this team. That's the joys of what we've been shown over the last 3 or 4 months, what this whole squad's capable of. I'm not even bothered about Brentford in regards to the strength of the side.
Luke's agreeing with you totally there. I think we're blessed to have fresh legs in Soyuncu and Ricardo for the Cup. I would keep the winning team as it is. Don't try to fix it if it ain't broken. And like I say, as long as the team that's got the shirts is playing well, then you should stay to it. Scott, I'll probably get shot down for this, but I'd like to see Barnes lead the line against Brentford. Mark, would you agree with that?
No, it'll be Iheanacho. I would have thought Barnes is doing the business where he is. I think he can play in that role. If we don't manage to get a replacement for Vardy, then Barnes is more than capable to lead the line. But it'll be Iheanacho. It might even be Perez. For me, I'd like to see Perez up there on his own. I think he could do the business up there.
Yeah, and of course, we forgot to mention. Albrighton. He just goes on and on and on. For me, he's been, I didn't expect him to be in this position because, as you know, I'm a big Under fan, and I thought it was going to be Under that was going to sort of nail that position down. But Albrighton's got it, and he was unlucky with the goal again, offside. Brad. Yeah,
he was, and bless him, it'd have been nice, isn't it? He ended a long run without a goal against Stoke, and it'd have been nice if it was like a buses and League Two came along at once. But that just shows the attitude of the squad. You've not just got Vardy anymore, and it was a big point that was talked about on the commentary I was watching on. Don't want to say it too loud, but they're actually quite respectful and praising of Leicester on every unit tonight. Albrighton gets a goal that was just offside tonight. Perez looked really good going forward, and had it fell a bit better to him when he was niggling his way through, he could have got shot away. Tielemans could have done better with his chance. You've got a team that kind of reminds me of the 90s under O'Neill. You've got 5 or 6 goal scorers in that team. Not the tidiest, not the most prolific, even though Barnes has got 10 and Madison's got a few now, but they're capable. And that's what it's good to see this season. That's where we needed the biggest improvement, and we've got it.
Yeah. Craig made the point there, just to end on here, Mark. Let me just try and bring it back up again. Here we go. I think this is the one. If it's going to work. No, it's refusing to work. It was basically saying that Evans and Fofana both on 4 yellows. but we've got the players to come in, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think one of the others is on 4 yellows as well. But yeah, if they get another one and they have to sit out for a match.
No, they don't. They don't now. We've
Is it
passed
that-
our halfway point. It goes up to 10 for us now because we passed the threshold of halfway. They were talking about Tillemans before the match. They were saying if he got booked, he would have got a ban, but he has to get through this game.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I think I could be wrong. Someone might correct me, but I think now Leicester have officially finished half the calendar of fixtures. Their next league game, it will be for them. It will be for 10 yellow cards before you miss matches. Thankfully,
there you go.
Hopefully you're right, Brad.
Even if they did,
Guys, it's 20 to midnight when I'm gonna start coming on here with they have to make Leicester City sleeping hats and Leicester City pajamas soon at this rate.
we'll have a midnight party.
Yes, it was no longer tonight's game. It was remember the game yesterday. Guys, thanks very much for joining us. I'll see you tomorrow night, Mark.
yeah,
And we're going to look at the transfer show. You got a couple in mind that we're going to talk about, haven't you?
yeah, we'll have a look at a couple, and we'll also
Is one of them Danny Ings by any chance? Because I've heard a lot of people bring him up. You're going to be talking about him?
Well, we can do. I didn't have him in mind. We'll talk about a couple, and we're also going to have a look whether we should be purchasing under come the end of the season.
I might have to join you for that.
Thanks very much, mate. And I'll see you tomorrow night at 7:00.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Yeah, cheers, mate. See you later.
Brad, thanks very much for that again. Incisive as always. And I didn't even bring up the stats.
I know, right? You must really love me today. I must have done really well today.
I have got them, to be honest with you. I have got them. Just in case. I could still do it. Hey,
Now, where's that X button? Where's that X button? Quick.
I will see you on when we're playing it Sunday. Is it for the FA Cup game? I will see you then.
I don't know. If it's Sunday, I'll see you Sunday, mate.
Sunday, I think it is. I think it's Sunday. Thanks for joining us tonight, mate. Take care and stay safe.
Yeah, no worries. It's been a pleasure. Stay safe, guys. See you.
Good. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. Top of the league. Should we just remind ourselves, where are we? Yes, we are top of the league. It might only be 24 hours, and the way things are going, obviously, this season, it changes pretty regularly. 3 times in one day once, I think it was. Thanks for joining us. Remember, if you want to watch this on catch-up on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. And if you want to catch this as a podcast and listen back to it, and of course, why wouldn't you? Then you can catch us on all the main podcast platforms. I got it right this time, including Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, and Google itself, all under Leicester Till I Die. My thanks to Mark, my thanks to Brad. I'm going to go now, have some cocoa, and get into bed. And maybe try and find the highlights somewhere. Thanks for watching, guys. It's all for you. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 for the transfer show. Get in there with any comments that you want to make on who you think we should be signing. I'll see you then at 7. Take care. Stay safe. Good night now.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.